First prop build of 2024. Let's get into it. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode brought to you by Backyard Zombie. I'm your host, Josh, and today we're going to be doing a prop build based around Evil Dead. So, let's say you're doing a production of Evil Dead the Musical. You don't want to bring in a Trick or Treat Studios replica of the dagger from Evil Dead onto that stage because that thing's made of resin. You need one that's going to, go through all of the rehearsal process, the final shows, and, maybe have something to take home with you at the end of the run. But as I've been taught, if you hand an actor a diamond, they're gonna find a way to shatter it. So, this is a really cool, quick DIY, cost-effective, probably under $50 way to make an Evil Dead Dagger for your production of Evil Dead the Musical, or just for your collection. So, let's get into building this prop. You're definitely going to need a plastic skeleton, scrap piece of wood, and maybe a Halloween knife, but the rest is all up to you, really. But these are the tools that I used, and you can follow along if you want to use them at home as well. But first things first, you need that big old scrap of wood, because that's going to be your handle. And I'm going to sand this baby down, get rid of all those sharp corners and edges to make this thing more, organic looking. Then I'm going to take the blade of that dollar store knife and put, two and two together. So I actually traced out the outline of the diamond, and I'm going to make a reservoir for this to sit. And then I dremelled it all out. And then I'm going to break out some 5-minute epoxy, and we're going to mix all that stuff together so we can put these things together. So here it is, sped up epoxy, put it in the reservoir, shove the blade in, and then on the outside I'm going to add some more epoxy because I don't want this baby to go anywhere. Make sure it all fits. Hold it for 5 minutes, it solidifies, and then you're basically ready for part 2 of this build, which is breaking out the bones and teeth box. I did actually sacrifice a skeleton that I had lying around. He will be missed, but he will live on to be a really cool Evil Dead dagger. So I'm going to use epoxy, hot glue, and I'm going to put all these bones and whatnot, and the teeth all over this wood to cover the wood. You don't want to leave any empty spots. Look at that. Have fun. Teeth. I love putting teeth on stuff. I do actually trim down that the rib cage too, because it just looks ridiculous right now. Hee. And just using my imagination to figure out what I'm going to do next. Have fun. What is up, everybody? I just finished the main body of my handle. Now, you could skip the next step that I'm about to talk about and just go straight into prepping and painting. But there is just, there's a lot of, see the wood? There's a lot of empty spots. There's a lot of empty, cavity. I also got to remove the hot glue string, which I will do. Make sure you do that. But I've been watching other YouTuber by the name of Much Props, and he actually did something for a cool video that he was doing for his, he sculpted and molded a replica of the Pick of Destiny, and he did something that I've never seen done, and I'm going to try it. But if it fails, I'm going to also talk about another thing you can do, and that's just using milliput or epoxy. But we're going to try doing this really cool technique that I've never seen, that I actually happen to have hoarded here. And all you need is a heat gun, and I'm going to use that technique to fill in kind of these gaps. And then I'm going to prep the surface and get this bad boy ready for paint, because I really want to be able to make this just look gnarly as hell. And then also, I don't know why I love the size of this dagger for some reason in my hand, and obviously once it's painted and I'll be able to hold it like that, it's a good size. I don't know, just something about it. I just like the size of this dagger. For it's shorter than the movie dagger, but I just love how it's coming out. So let's get to it. So I take some of these polyplastic beads, pour them in a bowl, and then I get ready for heating. So you heat them up with a heat gun, and soon they will turn clear. As you can see, there's already started turning clear. And then it's just like hot glue. You can mold it, you can shape it, but when it does dry, it will solidify into a hard plastic. So I used it to fill in the gaps and put the hands down, and filled in some other gaps on the actual dagger itself. And yeah, that's me just pushing that hand in to make it kind of like fuse with it. It's gonna look really cool. And then I started kind of like looking around the dagger to see where I could fill it in on other parts of the dagger. Kind of using my imagination, figuring out where everything's gonna go. And then, yeah, I went crazy. I filled in every gap just so paint wouldn't leak in later, and then I primed it with some black primer, because I love me some black primer, and then I painted all the bones with this suede paint. Just going back and forth, painting with that suede paint. Then I mixed some brown and black together to create like a really muck brown color, and then went into all the cracks and crevices as if they had used this material to basically fuse these bones to this bladed dagger. And I went into every crack, every crevice. And then I'm going to eventually use the black to do some dry brushing. I did some washes. I sealed everything between goes. Used some silver rub and buff, and that's for the blade. And this is fun. This is a lot of fun. And then look how it all comes together. It really does. And you get this really cool shining blade effect, and it looks metal from a distance, but is completely recycled. Everything here is just recycled plastic, recycled skeleton, some other stuff, some wood, but you get a really cool, convincing Evil Dead Dagger prop replica that you can show to all your friends or use in your musical. And that is how I put this bad boy together. Now, just for fun, I'm actually going to compare my new dagger prop replica, or prop that I made, to my original. And I made this back in 2012, and it's gone through many paint jobs when the paint scratches off, but I used this blade from Spirit Halloween, and it had like a weird handle, and I cut it off, and it's all the same technique, wood, the skeletons, glued all together, but I just didn't have the same materials that I have now, and it's just, I was creative with this. There's like, I think 4 skeletons on this bad boy, various paint, but it's amazing how far you can come with just a little time. And I love my new dagger. I think it's my new favorite, because I see growth, and that's really important to me, is just to see growth. Plus, I just love how small it is. The blade looks cool, complements the piece, but both of these are, really important to me in my collection, so they're really cool. There you go, folks. Cheap, easy DIY. That is how I made this awesome dagger from Evil Dead, and I really hope it helps you at home if you're watching this for your production of Evil Dead the Musical. My dagger has been through, I believe, 2 productions of Evil Dead the Musical, my original one, and I think finally it is time for this baby to retire. And if anybody needs a dagger for Evil Dead the Musical, don't be afraid to slide into our DMs over on Instagram. And yeah, well, if you liked this video, please thumbs up and maybe think about subscribing. And hopefully, we will see you in the next video brought to you by Backyard Zombie. See you next time.